welcome to Unews for Wednesday, January 29th. I'm Andrea Linares. The deadly coronavirus continues to spread. The number of confirmed cases in China tops 6,000. As fear grows worldwide, airlines are taking precautionary measures by reducing service to China due to this virus. And today, more than 200 Americans arrived in California after being evacuated from Wuhan on a chartered flight. Dulce Castellanos is at the March Air Reserve Base in Riverside, California, with more details. Dulce?
Good afternoon, Andrea. That's right. I am standing at the March Air Base in Riverside County, where behind me you can still see the first flight that has arrived from Wuhan, China, carrying the very first passengers to leave the Asian country. They are here and they have made it. It is speculated that only 200 of them have come to the United States. At first, it was reported that 240 of them would be flying back home. However, reports indicate that only 201 of them have made it safely here. Health screenings have been conducted throughout the many points in this long travel. They made a pit stop in Alaska where extensive exams were conducted, and all 201 of them were healthy enough to continue to this final destination, where we saw earlier a group of people covered from head to toe in white protective gear go on board, and we speculate that they are still conducting these medical exams to ensure that the passengers are not carrying this virus. Of course, we will continue updated on what is to follow in the next few days. We know that they will be in quarantine anywhere from 3 to 14 days. In Riverside County, Dulce Castellanos, back to you guys.
Thank you, Dulce Castellanos, reporting in Riverside, California. And as we continue to track the coronavirus, here's what we know right now. The death toll, at least 132, and cases of infection surpassing 6,000. This as countries begin evacuating their citizens from Wuhan, and the U.S. considers suspending flights to and from China entirely. Lorraine Cáceres has the very latest.
Right now, health authorities are saying United States residents should not worry and just practice the same measures one would take to avoid the flu, such as covering nose and mouth while sneezing and coughing and washing hands frequently. Back to you, Andrea.
Thanks so much, Lorraine, for that information. And Starbucks is also taking steps to protect its customers from the coronavirus in Beijing by closing nearly half of its roughly 4,300 stores in China. Mostly those located in the city. Is Jared Evans. He's an American citizen evacuated from Wuhan, China, amid this outbreak of coronavirus. And he is also one of 201 individuals who just landed in Riverside, California. And he joins us now. Jared, it's nice to talk to you. How are you doing? How do you feel to be back in the States? On Capitol Hill today, President Trump's impeachment trial resumes. Senators will have 2 days to ask both sides questions and then a vote on whether the Senate should seek witnesses and documents. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell warning his party that for now, the Republicans do not have the votes to block witnesses. Chief Justice John Roberts will be the voice of senators as he reads their questions to House managers and the president's legal team. And two more developments that we are following today. Sources tell CNN the White House has issued a formal threat to John Bolton to keep him from publishing his memoir. And Democratic Congressman Eliot Engel is revealing that during a September phone call with Bolton suggested the House Foreign Affairs Committee investigate the firing of the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch. And for more on this impeachment trial, let's go to Charles Zeldin. He's a political science professor. And now to another major story out of our nation's capital. It's been one of President Trump's biggest priorities, a campaign promise. Today, he signed the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. Janet Rodriguez joins us from Washington with more. Janet, it's been called the new NAFTA. What does the USMCA deal do exactly?
Well, according to President Trump, it was a big deal, the biggest deal he could have signed commercially, and this agreement with Mexico and Canada would really help financially especially the agriculture sector in the U.S., also the manufacturing, and especially the car manufacturing. A plant will open in Detroit, and more manufacturing jobs within the automotive sector will be built here in the U.S. So it is a win for the U.S. economy, for the U.S. labor force, and over 400 people were here at the White House this afternoon to witness the president signing this new trade agreement, and this is what the president had to say during that event. Trillions of dollars to the economy, and it had been a campaign promise for the president to get the last trade deal on, be done with it, and now this new trade deal that will benefit mostly the U.S. On the books, and we know that Mexico had signed it already, and Canada not very
By the deal, but Canada still needs to approve it. So do we have a timeline for that?
That's right. No timeline at the moment because Canada, as I just told you, is not very happy with this deal. It doesn't benefit them as much as the old deal does. And Canada now, the parliament has to go through a long process of ratification. We do not expect them to be quick with it, but all three governments have kind of promised and are hoping that this new agreement can go into effect on July 1st. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Janet Rodriguez from Washington, D.C. And another major story we are tracking following an Iranian missile attack against an Iraqi base. The Pentagon now revealing that more U.S. service members suffered brain injuries than previously disclosed. 16 more cases have now been added to those that officials announced last week. Paola Byron has more. U.S. officials are charging 3 people with spying for China. The U.S. government has charged a Harvard University department investigation into the helicopter crash that killed Kobe Bryant and 8 others. Federal investigators now confirming the aircraft suffered a high-energy impact against a mountain on the outskirts of L.A. Carolina Sarasa has the latest. We have much more still. New developments involving Fotis Dulos, the Connecticut man charged with killing his estranged wife and mother to their 5 children. Well, just yesterday, his attorney had disclosed that his client had passed away, but police are now saying he was found with a faint pulse in his home and was rushed to the hospital. That's where he remains in critical condition this morning. Rafael Rodriguez has the latest. In New York City, a heroic community effort as Good Samaritans rescue a woman stuck underneath an SUV. That woman knocked down in a traffic accident. Passers-by racing by the car to lift it and free her. Fabiola Galindo brings us these dramatic images.
To witnesses, the woman that was run over by the car was coming out of that supermarket with one bag in each hand. Fortunately enough, she has no grave injuries, and the woman behind the wheel has now been issued a ticket for not yielding to pedestrians.
When we come back, a frantic search. Firefighters are battling a well-developed blaze at a high-rise apartment building in the Sawtell neighborhood of West Los Angeles, California. The fire ignited about the victims of a deadly fire at an Alabama boat dock. On Tuesday, the coroner confirmed 4 children were among the 8 people who died in the fire at Jackson County Park Marina. Officials say some 24 people lived in the 35 houseboats that were destroyed. Maite Interiano has the latest on this tragedy. Looking around the country, an Amber Alert has been issued for a newborn after 3 women. A major earthquake strikes Mexico this week, marks the 1-year anniversary of the implementation of the Remain in Mexico. For so many migrants being held on the Mexico side of the border, life continues to be difficult. But as Pedro Rojas reports, one family decided to hold a quinceañera for their daughter in the hopes that special celebration would provide a brief escape from their daily struggles. When we come back, the state of Massachusetts serving up and in with Carolina Sarasa. She has a preview of what's coming up during hour 2 of News. Caro, what do you have for us?
Well, thank you, Andrea. We have a lot more info coming up in minutes. As the outbreak of the coronavirus continues to get worse, one lab in Canada is also working on a vaccine that will take you inside that facility. And as we learn more about the crash that killed Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 others, the high school where Kobe got his start now shocked by his passing. We will hear from his former coach. And we'll take a look at a growing problem in Mexico, revenge porn. Officials there are now trying to protect the estimated 9 million women who suffer online attacks every year. Those details and more coming up shortly. Andrea, back to you.
Thanks so much, Caro, for that information, for that preview. We'll be waiting for you, of course. But first, right here on Unews, a divine inspiration. For some fans, sports can be like a religion, a way to connect with others. And one church in Kansas is hoping to connect people using both religion and sports. They're putting a creative twist on a well-known prayer just ahead of Super Bowl Sunday. Mariti Marungi explains. And now check this out. Justin Bieber fans will be feeling the love on this upcoming Valentine's Day, and that's all the time that we have for the first hour of Unews. But stay tuned for the second hour with Carolina Sarasa. We have much more coming up next. I'm Andrea Linares, and I will see you tomorrow.